Hi everyone, I'm Aurora from Susan's family. Today I'm bringing you a new design, the Poppy Bud skirt from Botanical Sensations series. This skirt is divided into several parts: the inner layer, the outer layer, accessories and assembly. First, crochet the inner and outer layers one by one, then make the decorations and assemble them. This garment comes in multiple sizes. The crochet techniques for different sizes are almost identical. Here, I'll demonstrate using the smallest size as an example. I'll explain any differences in specific positions separately. This garment uses self-stripping yarn. In reality, self-stripping yarn has multiple color segments. The starting position with a different color will result in a different finished look. You can choose based on your own preference, selecting the desired color section of the self-stripping yarn to begin with. The garment also uses mohair for crocheting. It's not easy to undo, so when you get to this part, it's suggested to first follow the video to learn the crochet method. You can also practice with other yarn first. Next, let's learn the inner layers crochet technique. The inner layer is divided into the front piece, the back piece, and the body, joining 3 parts in total. First, let's look at how to crochet the inner back piece. It's divided into the chest piece part 1, chest piece part 2, and the body, 3 sections. Just crochet them in order. Now let's look at chest piece part 1. Chest piece part 1 is divided into the left side piece and the right side piece. The left and right here refer to the actual left and right when wearing the garment. The crochet techniques for the left and right side pieces are similar. Both start with a chain stitch and are worked back and forth in rows. When crocheting, start with the left side piece first, then crochet the right side piece. The stitches used include chain stitches, double crochet, slip stitch, single crochet, half double crochet, and double crochet decrease. Next, I'll demonstrate the specific crochet method for the left side piece. To make it easier to watch, I'll demonstrate using cotton yarn. The color is random. For specific yarn, color scheme and hook size, please check the detail page of our product and the printed pattern instruction. First, begin with a chain stitch. Pick up the corresponding yarn. Leave a yarn tail first, then make a slip knot. This starting knot doesn't count as one stitch. Slightly tighten it. Then follow the chart to crochet the corresponding number of chain stitches. After finishing, check the stitch count. This kind of braid represents 1 stitch. Pay attention that the loop on the hook is not included. With that, the casting on is complete. After completing, hook the first row. Note that the pattern is the same for different sizes, but the number of cast-on stitches varies, so the stitch techniques at the beginning and end of a row are also different. Here I'll demonstrate using the smallest size as an example. Those who want to learn other sizes should first learn the crocheting method. Refer to the chart for crocheting. Make 3 chains to start as the turning chain for the double crochet. Then work 1 chain space and crochet 1 double crochet. Find the corresponding chain for the double crochet. Here it's the 8th stitch from the end. Pick up the top strand of this chain stitch. Crochet 1 double crochet. Three chains. Then at the insertion point for the double crochet, work 1 double crochet and 1 chain. Next, skip 3 stitches and start with 3 double crochets on the 4th stitch. Then crochet 1 chain and skip 3 stitches. Work a continuous 1 double crochet on the 4th stitch. 3 chains, 1 double crochet and 1 chain. Let's take a look. Start with these 3 double crochets. Treat the part you've worked as group 1. Repeat this group pattern across the row and keep going until you finish the last group 1. Pay attention, skip 3 stitches between every 2 groups. For the smallest two sizes here, the stitch count is lower, so work 4 double crochets correspondingly. And that's the end of the first row. Take the clearer texture side as the right side of the entire piece. For the other sizes, follow the pattern until the end. You'll come across the new stitch technique, double crochet decrease. Here, I'll demonstrate the double crochet decrease using a swatch. First, at the corresponding position, work 2 incomplete double crochets. Yarn over the hook, insert into the corresponding position and draw the yarn through. Now there are 3 loops on the hook. Yarn over and pull through the first 2 loops on the hook. The incomplete double crochet is done. Now work 1 more stitch. Yarn over the hook, insert into the corresponding position and draw the yarn through. Yarn over and pull through the first 2 loops on the hook. The incomplete double crochet is done. Now there are 2 incomplete double crochets on the hook. Yarn over and pull through all loops on the hook. The double crochet decrease is complete. That concludes the first row for all remaining sizes. Next, continuing with the smallest size as an example, demonstrate the second row. Make 3 chains to start, as the beginning chain for the double crochet corresponds to 1 stitch below. Then turn the work. Work 1 chain stitch on the left side, on the middle stitch of the next 3 consecutive double crochets. Work 1 double crochet and 1 chain stitch. Pay attention that the back side of the stitch is slightly to the left. Skip the stitch and the chain space of 1 stitch after completing. On the chain space of 3 chains, work 7 consecutive double crochets. Then work 1 chain space on the middle stitch of the 3 double crochets on the left side. Work 1 double crochet and 1 chain stitch. Take a look. Starting from these 7 double crochets, this part worked out is considered as pattern set 2. Repeat this pattern set 2 across the row. Keep crocheting until 1 double crochet remains. The last double crochet is worked into the beginning chain of the previous row. You can count the chain stitches from back to front. Here we are on the second to last stitch. Crochet by hooking both strands of the chain stitch. Moving forward, whenever you encounter a stitch symbol in the chart pointing to a beginning chain, simply hook both strands of the top chain of the beginning chain as shown. With that, the second row is completed. For other sizes when crocheting, there are also cases where you don't work into the beginning chain of the previous row. Simply follow the chart accordingly. For the largest size, at the end of a row, it's worked into the same stitch, crocheting 4 consecutive double crochets. Moving forward, when you encounter multiple identical or different stitches worked into the same position, just follow the chart in order. Here I'll use a swatch to demonstrate. This is the stitch technique of working 2 double crochets into the same position like this. It's called a double crochet increase. You'll encounter this stitch technique again later. Continue crocheting row 3. Work 3 chains as beginning chain. Turn the work and then work 3 chains. Continue working into the next stitch below. Crochet 1 double crochet and 1 chain. After completing, there are 7 double crochets on the left side. Skip the first 2 stitches. Begin crocheting 3 double crochets in the next stitch. Crochet 1 more chain. into the position of 1 double crochet on the left side. Draw through 1 double crochet, 3 chains, 1 double crochet and 1 chain. Take a look. This row uses the same motif 1 stitch technique as row 1, just in a staggered position. Repeat the stitching method of this motif. Finish this row. After completing the last double crochet, crochet 3 more chains. Then into the insertion position of the double crochet, and the starting chain of the previous row, work 1 double crochet decrease together. First make 2 incomplete double crochets. Then yarn over and draw through all loops on the hook. The double crochet decrease is now completed. At this point, row 3 is finished. The stitching method for row 4 will be similar to row 2. Make 3 chains as beginning chain. Turn the work over. On the left side, work 5 double crochets into the chain space of the 3 chains. One chain into the middle stitch of the 3 double crochets on the left. Crochet 1 double crochet, 1 chain. Then follow the pattern of pattern 2 from row 2. Refer to the chart and finish this row. This completes row 4. After finishing, measure the width of this row and the height of the work piece. Compare it with the measurements given in the chart. If there's a big difference, you need to adjust your tension, or switch to a different hook size and crochet again. Next, refer to the chart and finish the remaining part of the left piece. This is the swatch I've already completed. This completes the left piece for the smallest size. Note that for the largest size, the row count is different. After finishing the left piece, leave the yarn tail for now. Place 1 stitch marker on the loop to prevent the loop from slipping off. If you don't have a stitch marker, you can use a paperclip or safety pin instead. Then set it aside for now. Next, take a new ball of yarn and continue crocheting the right piece. The method has been demonstrated earlier. Refer to the chart and finish it. After completing, leave the yarn tail for now. This is the swatch of the right piece after finishing. So both the left and right pieces have been explained. Part 1 of the chest piece is now completed. Next, we'll crochet part 2 of the chest piece. Before crocheting, first confirm the direction of the first row of the chest piece. If it's from right to left, then pick up the left piece to start crocheting. If it's from left to right, then pick up the right piece to start crocheting. Before crocheting, handle the yarn tail of the other piece first. The smallest size is from left to right, so you need to start crocheting from the right piece. Therefore, handle the yarn tail of the left piece first. Crochet 1 chain to secure. Leave a 5 cm yarn tail, and then cut the yarn. Tighten the yarn tail. This way the yarn tail is settled. Then position the first part of the chest piece correctly according to the chart. After picking up the corresponding piece, start crocheting row 1. Crochet this piece according to the chart. After completing, crochet 5 chains. Then pick up the remaining piece. Pay attention to the direction of this piece. Continue crocheting the corresponding stitches following the chart. Once done, row 1 is completed. Continue with row 2. Just follow the chart. When crocheting to the chain space in the middle of the previous row, make sure the chain loop doesn't twist. Then pick up one loop from the top of the chain and crochet accordingly. Continue to finish this row. Row 2 is now completed. After finishing this row, you can measure the width and height again, and compare it with the given dimensions, to prevent size deviation. Now let's take a look at the actual piece. Part 2 of the front piece is a pattern repeat of 2 rows per motif, crocheted in a staggered repeat. Combine motif 1 and motif 2, which correspond vertically, and refer to them, collectively as the main motif, because except for the side stitches, the crochet method for the motifs is the same. So next I'll demonstrate the situations you'll encounter with the side stitches. Refer to the following demonstration, and crochet according to the chart for your size. Here I'll demonstrate using a swatch. The swatch is not meant for exact reference. Before crocheting, let me clarify again. There will be cases where multiple, identical or different, stitch techniques are worked in the same stitch on the sides. Just follow the chart accordingly. Now let's look at the beginning of row 7 for the smallest size. This is after crocheting a chain space, then working the required stitches into that chain space. Other sizes will also encounter this crochet method, so let's learn it together first. First crochet the required chain stitches, then make one beginning chain. This chain does not count as a stitch. Start from the second to last stitch. Pick the top loop of the chain one by one accordingly. Crochet slip stitches. The oval-shaped slip stitches in the diagram indicate not to pull tight. After finishing the slip stitches, there will be a braid-like texture on the surface. That's the stitch texture of the slip stitches. After crocheting the required number of stitches, turn the fabric piece over. Continue crocheting the next row following the chart. At the beginning of the next row, first crochet a chain loop. Then work the required stitch into the chain loop. Here you will encounter single crochets and half double crochets. Again pick the top loop of the chain loop to crochet. After finishing the chain loop, turn the previous row over. Continue working into each stitch of the previous row. Keep crocheting all the way to the end of the previous row, until reaching the braid formed by the slip stitch. Now you've reached the corresponding position. Pick up the stitch on the left side of the slip stitch. Crochet accordingly into each stitch. This row is now completed. This chain braid acts as an increase on the side edge. The braid from the slip stitch counts as a stitch. Whenever you reach this position later, refer to this demonstration for crocheting. That's all for the remaining part of section 2 on the front piece. That's it. Continue crocheting section 2 of the front piece by referring to the chart. After completing this section, don't fasten off the yarn. Continue to crochet the body part. The body section is worked back and forth on top of section 2 of the front piece, using the same pattern. No new stitch techniques are involved. Just follow the previous demonstration and crochet according to the chart. When you run out of yarn while crocheting, you'll need to join new yarn. Next, I'll demonstrate the joining method using this swatch. You can join the new yarn at a consecutive double crochet position. First, work an incomplete double crochet, then take the new yarn, leave a yarn tail and pull the yarn through. That's how you join the yarn. This double crochet is completed. Continue crocheting double crochets, and place the yarn tail on top of the hook, then crochet and tighten them together. Pay attention when weaving in the yarn tail. The tail should always stay on the wrong side of the piece. Any remaining yarn tail can be woven in on the wrong side of the piece. You can use a crochet hook for weaving in the tail, or you can use a tapestry needle. Pick up the top loops on the back side to weave in the tail. Make sure the yarn segments don't show on the right side. After weaving in, trim off any excess yarn tails. This is the method for joining yarn and weaving in ends while crocheting. In the future, when you need to join yarn or weave in ends, please refer to this demonstration. That's all for the body section. The inner back piece is now completed. Next, let's look at the inner front piece. The inner front piece is similar to the inner back piece in crochet technique. It's also divided into the first part of the chest panel, and the second part of the chest panel, and the body. For all sizes here, start by crocheting the first part of the chest panel, then crochet the second part of the chest panel. While joining the first part of the chest panel, refer to the demonstration of the inner back piece for the crochet method. That's all for the inner front piece. After completing the inner front and back pieces, remember to weave in all yarn tails from the crocheting process. Next, let's crochet the body joining. This is a small sample after completing the front and back pieces. Place the front and back pieces with their right sides together. Align the side edges of the body. Locate the insertion point at the edge of the first row of the body. Pick up 2 layers of fabric to join the yarn. Start joining after completing that. The joining method is, make 1 beginning chain. Work 1 single crochet and 2 chain spaces at the joining spot. The number of chains in the space can also be adjusted based on personal preference. Then skip a certain distance to the left. Do not exceed the width of the chain stitch loop. Pick up the edges of the 2 layers of fabric. Work 1 single crochet and 2 chain spaces. Take a look. Joining is done by alternately crocheting 1 single crochet and 2 chain spaces. Pay attention to the distance between the single crochets. Do not exceed the width of the chain stitch loop. After joining, make sure the fabric lies flat. If there is any shrinking, you can undo part of it and try again. Adjust the distance between the single crochets. Rejoin the pieces. Follow the demonstration to complete this side seam of the body. After finishing, the last stitch is 1 single crochet. After joining, work 1 chain stitch to secure. Leave a yarn tail and fasten off. This completes one side seam of the body. Using the same method, complete the other side seam of the body. After joining, weave in the ends. This completes the inner layer. Set it aside for now. Next, let's learn the crochet method for the outer layer. It's divided into 3 parts: the chest panel, the body, and the neckline. Crochet them in order. The chest panel is further divided into front and back panels. The crochet techniques for the front and back panels were covered earlier in the inner layer. Follow the pattern chart according to your size. When crocheting, start with the back chest panel, then the front chest panel. While crocheting, pay attention. Compare it with the chest panel part of the inner layer's front and back pieces as you crochet. The size should be the same or slightly bigger. After completing the front and back pieces, leave a longer yarn tail before breaking the yarn. This is the completed small sample. This completes the chest panel part. Next, continue to crochet the outer body section. This part is shown in a chart. It's crocheted in rounds on the completed front and back chest panels. Crocheting in rounds counterclockwise. The stitch techniques used are F double crochet, FB double crochet increase. Next, please watch the demonstration. Start with crocheting the first round. Pick up the required piece, front side facing us. Join the yarn at the far right position. Make 2 chains as the beginning chain, serving as the turning chain for the half double crochet, matching the position where the yarn was joined below. Here, only the smallest size uses a 2 chain half double crochet turning chain. All others use a 3 chain double crochet turning chain. Then pick up into the left side chain loop or stitch. Work into each stitch in sequence. Continue crocheting until the current front piece is finished. Note that the stitch count and techniques vary by size. Crochet according to the chart for your specific size. Check the number of stitches after completing. Then pick up another front piece. Continue with the right side facing up. Pick up into chain loops or stitches. Work into each stitch in sequence. This is the sample swatch after completing. Check the number of stitches after finishing. Once the stitch count is confirmed, join the piece into a circle. Be mindful not to twist the piece. Then join with a slip stitch in the beginning chain. Pull tight. The first round is complete. After completing this round, take the remaining yarn tail, Thread it through a yarn needle and sew it together with the adjacent piece, so that the first round connects smoothly without any gap. Once sewing is done, weave in the end and cut the yarn. Handle the other side the same way. This completes the work for the first round. Next, crochet the second round. Starting from round 2, use the pattern chart. Before starting the actual crocheting, let's first understand the chart. The chart uses our plus number to indicate the round number. The increases and decreases explanation column shows the stitch techniques used for crocheting this round, and whether increases or decreases are involved. The total stitches column indicates all the stitches in this round, the total number of stitches after completing all rounds. Now crochet round 2. The stitch pattern for this round in the smallest size is 32 DC, DC increase, 33 DC, DC increase, x2. First crochet the stitch pattern inside the parentheses. Parentheses indicate a group. X number indicates how many times to repeat the pattern. Inside the parentheses, F stands for double crochet. The number before F indicates how many double crochets to crochet. Please note that each round starts with a turning chain of 3 chain stitches. The turning chain corresponds to the first stitch underneath and counts as 1 double crochet in the chart, which means you'll continue crocheting 31 more double crochets. After that, FV is a double crochet increase. Once done, continue with 33 double crochets and 1 double crochet increase. Once you've completed the stitch pattern inside the parentheses, that counts as 1 repetition. Just keep going until you've completed all the repetitions. Please refer to the demonstration and instructions here, and follow the chart for your size to complete this round. After completing round 2, join with a slip stitch into the beginning chain. This swatch is not meant for actual reference. The joining slip stitch does not count as a stitch. Be sure to pull tight. The slip stitch is not indicated in the form. In actual crocheting in rounds, you'll always finish with a slip stitch and pull it tight. The second round is now complete. Continue to the third round. Still remember to start the round with a turning chain of 3, which counts as 1 double crochet. Then continue following the chart to complete this round. After finishing, join with a slip stitch into the beginning chain. Pull tight. Be mindful, at the end of every round, you must always join with a slip stitch into the beginning chain. After the slip stitch is completed, pull tight. The third round is now complete. The stitch techniques used for the back of the body have already been demonstrated earlier. The meaning of the increases and decreases explanation is similar to before. Just follow the stitch order in the table, and crochet accordingly. Don't forget the beginning chain and slip stitch while crocheting. Continue downward using the previously learned method. Refer to the table and complete this section. Now let's look at the actual project. After finishing the outer body section, fold it inward and attach it to the inner layer. The outer layer should still extend beyond the inner layer after attaching. Once you finish the outer layer, align it with the inner layer and check the fit. If the height is not enough, you can add a few more rounds evenly as needed. Once done, leave a yarn tail and fasten off directly. That's all for the outer body section. Next, we'll start attaching the neckline. Before attaching, make sure the outer layer's right side is facing out, and the wrong side is facing the inner layer's seamed side. Place the outer layer over the outer side of the inner layer. Pay attention to aligning the front and back pieces properly. You can use stitch markers to mark the corner positions here, as well as the side seams of the body. If you don't have stitch markers, safety pins or paper clips can be used as substitutes. Once completed, pick up 2 layers of fabric pieces at any position on the back piece. Join the yarn. Then make one beginning chain. The beginning chain for the single crochet doesn't count as one stitch. Next, pick up the edges of the 2 layers of fabric. Crochet single crochets around in rounds. Pay attention to the stitch count and placement of the single crochets here. There's no fixed requirement, as long as it looks neat and flat after finishing. Continue crocheting all the way down to finish this round. Pay attention. When crocheting to the corner position, you can add a few more stitches at the corner. This way the edge will form a smoother curve. Continue crocheting downward. Later, when you meet protruding corners, add a few more stitches just like this. Here's a sample swatch after finishing. During the crocheting process, after finishing a small section, check if the current piece is flat. If it's not flat, you need to undo that section and recrochet it. After crocheting a full round like this, join with a slip stitch in the first stitch. Then secure the yarn tails. That's how the collar assembly is done. The outer layer is done. Next we'll learn about decorations and assembly. Decorations include the collar, by large flowers, small flowers, daisies and hem assembly. Now, let's show. First let's look at how to crochet the collar. The collar starts with a chain stitch, worked back and forth in rows. No new stitch techniques are used. This is the swatch after completing the foundation chain. Continue to crochet row 1. First make 4 chain stitches, as the buttonhole, corresponding to the last stitch of the cast on. Then go to the 6th stitch from the end. Pick up the front loop of the chain, and work a double crochet in each stitch accordingly. Take a look. The right side of the chain has a braid-like texture, and there's a horizontal bar in the center of the wrong side. This is the front loop. Pick up the horizontal bar here and crochet into it. Work all the way down, matching each stitch below. When completed, the first row is done. Now let's crochet the second row. Make 3 chains as the turning chain, corresponding to the stitch right below. After turning the work, at the stitch corresponding to the turning chain, work a double crochet. This completes 1 double crochet increase. Then crochet 5 more double crochets. Check it after completing. Treat the crocheted part as one group. This row is made by repeating this group. Note that the stitch count for each group varies by size. Follow the chart according to your own size. Continue crocheting all the way down. Don't miss the last stitch. Now the second row is done. The third row after this is similar to the second row. Just continue crocheting according to the chart. This is the swatch after completing. Leave a long yarn tail and then break the yarn, which will be used for sewing later. Now the collar is done. Next let's look at the bow. The bow is divided into piece 1 and piece 2. The crochet method is similar to that of the collar. Starting with a foundation chain, pick up the back bumps of the chains and crochet back and forth. No increases are needed while crocheting. Piece 2 only requires crocheting 2 rows. Leave a long yarn tail after finishing for later sewing. Continue following the chart downward to complete piece 1 and piece 2 of the bow. That's all for the bow. Now let's assemble the collar. First, position the outer back piece facing us, with the collar's right side facing up. Align the last row with the top of the back piece. Sew together the collar joining position like this. Before sewing, first mark the positions. The edge of the last row. Align it with the edge at the opening. Mark with a stitch marker. Be mindful that the collar doesn't twist. Once both sides are marked like this, find the center position of the collar. Then flip to the outer front piece. Fold it in half. Find the center position as well. Mark these 2 center points. Then mark both ends of the front and back pieces separately. That's how the collar is marked. Now start sewing. Thread the reserved yarn tail onto a sewing needle. Align the collar with the collar joining position. The part that is aligned, sew them together. The sewing method is whip stitch. Insert the sewing needle from front to back, through the edge of the collar joining position, and through the stitches of the collar. Keep sewing like this until it's done, following the marked edge. You don't need to sew one stitch to another, just sew them evenly. Once done sewing, weave in the end and cut the yarn. So one side of the back piece is now sewn onto the collar. Follow the method demonstrated here, and sew all the previously marked positions. Here's a sample swatch after sewing the collar. Pay attention when joining yarn and sewing. Take a yarn tail that's 2 to 3 times the length needed for sewing. After sewing is done, on the back piece section, at the position corresponding to the buttonhole, sew on a purl button. Take the yarn from the collar and thread it through the yarn needle. Pay attention, the needle needs to be able to pass through the purl button. Sew a few more stitches to secure it firmly. This way the button is fixed in place. Next, take the two pieces of the bow. Place the longer piece with the wrong side facing up. Wrap it around counterclockwise like this. Tidy up the shape. Then take the shorter piece. Leave a yarn tail and thread it through the yarn needle. Place it in the center position. Secure both ends of the shorter piece. Here you can also pick up a few stitches from the longer piece to fix it, making the bow more secure. Pay attention not to let the picked up stitches show on the right side. Then take the collar. Attach the bow to the front piece. Position it towards the right side of the collar. The exact position can be adjusted according to personal preference. First, secure the middle position of the collar. The ear positions on both sides of the bow can also be secured to help the bow keep its shape. After sewing, weave in the ends and cut the yarn. This way the bow is securely attached. Next, let's look at the large and small flowers. These two flowers have a similar making method. The large flower is divided into a large flower core and large petals. The small flower is divided into a small flower core and small petals. The cores are all started with a magic ring and crocheted in rounds counterclockwise. The petals are made by wrapping yarn around a cardboard template. Next, I'll demonstrate using the large flower as an example. The small flower can be made following the same demonstration as the large one. The new stitch technique used is the single crochet increase. Next, please watch the demonstration. First, let's make the large flower core. Start with an adjustable magic ring. After completing, make one beginning chain to start the next round. Then work 6 single crochets into the starting chain. After completing, tighten the loop of the magic ring. Then join with a slip stitch in the first stitch. The first round is complete. Next, let's crochet the second round. Make one beginning chain, then work a single crochet increase into each stitch evenly. The way to make a single crochet increase is to work 2 single crochets into the same stitch. This completes one single crochet increase. Continue crocheting the remaining 5 single crochet increases. After finishing, join with a slip stitch in the first stitch. The second round is complete. Continue to crochet the third round. Make one beginning chain, then work 1 single crochet and 1 single crochet increase. Alternate crocheting single crochets and single crochet increases until the end of this round. When done, join with a slip stitch in the first stitch. The third round is complete. After finishing this round, leave a long yarn tail, then break the yarn. Next, let's work the round 4. First, join the yarn at the slip stitch of the previous round. Then work 4 chain stitches. Make 1 slip stitch in the stitch on the left side. Treat the 4 chain stitches and 1 slip stitch as one group. Repeat crocheting in each stitch around. Let me demonstrate again. First, work 4 chain stitches. Then make 1 slip stitch in the next stitch on the left side. Another group is done. Continue repeating the same group pattern downward. Finish crocheting this round. The last slip stitch. Work it in the first stitch of the previous round. This completes round 4. Leave a yarn tail, then break the yarn. Hide this yarn tail on the back side of the flower core. This completes the large flower core. Next, let's make the large petals. Take the lace yarn loop and fold it in half. Then use this folded loop as a cardboard base. Make the petal on top of it. Next, I'll provide a video demonstrating how to make the petal. Follow the video demonstration to make the petal. Take the corresponding yarn. Leave about 20 centimeters of yarn tail. Hold the yarn tail and cardboard with your left hand. Start wrapping the yarn around the cardboard. Place your right index finger and thumb underneath the yarn. Wrap the yarn around the cardboard counterclockwise. While stretching the loop larger, bring the loop from the back over the cardboard. You can see the yarn has formed a knot underneath the cardboard. Tighten the yarn tail. This completes one round. Let me demonstrate again. Hold the yarn tail and cardboard with your left hand, keeping the same position. Place your right hand's index finger and thumb underneath the yarn. Wrap the yarn around counterclockwise. Bring it over the cardboard from the back. Tighten the yarn tail. This completes another round. One petal requires about 40 rounds. Follow this method. Complete the required number of rounds evenly around the cardboard. Once the wrapping is done, leave about 20 centimeters of yarn tail. Cut the yarn. The ending yarn tail. Wrap it from top to bottom behind the cardboard. The starting yarn tail. Wrap it from bottom to top in front of the cardboard. Cut another piece of yarn about 30 centimeters long. Thread the needle. Pass the needle through the loops. Remove the needle. Take the yarn tail on the end of the cardboard without the knot. Gather all the loops together. Tie a knot. Hold both ends of the wrapped loops. Tie a simple knot. Once completed, remove the loops from the cardboard. Adjust slightly. This way, one petal is made. Make 3 more using the same method. I've already made the sample here. Next, we'll start the assembly. Take the yarn for attaching the petals. And the 2 petals. Position the petals correctly. Pinch the base. Leave a long yarn tail after attaching the petal. Wrap the yarn around the base. Pay attention to tighten it up. Then add a new petal. After adjusting the position, continue wrapping the yarn around the base. Then add another petal. Leave a yarn tail and tie a knot at the base. Now the petals are roughly secured together. Adjust the position of the petals again. Then take the yarn tail at the back, divide it into 2 strands. Tie a knot to secure it. To make it more secure, you can tie the knot a few times. Once it's tied securely, take 1 strand from each of the 2 strands. Trim the excess tails. Take the large flower core and thread it onto the yarn needle. Place the flower core in the middle of the petals, and sew it in place with a few stitches. Any method that secures it firmly is fine. When sewing, pick up the back strands of the large flower core. After sewing, tie a knot at the back to secure it. Trim off the excess tails. Once done, thread the remaining tails of the petals onto a yarn needle. Secure the flower to the appropriate position on the outer fabric piece. I'll demonstrate the securing method first, then explain the placement requirements. Be mindful not to sew through the inner fabric piece. Just make sure it's securely attached. This completes the large flower. The method for small flowers is similar to that of large flowers, except you need to trim the loops of the lace thread before making them. You can trim both ends separately. Measure out 1/5 of the width. Then draw a line connecting the points. And cut off the excess. After that, use the trimmed loops to make small petals. Refer to the large flower demonstration here. Complete the remaining large and small flowers, and secure them all onto the outer fabric piece. Since the flowers are made with variegated yarn, you can make all the flowers first. Then decide on their placement based on your preference. Then proceed with sewing. Pay attention to the flower placement. With large flowers at the bottom, and small flowers on top, try to spread them out evenly. You can refer to the actual project for placement, or adjust based on personal preference. That concludes the making of large and small flowers. Next, let's sew on the daisies. Take a piece of lace thread in any color you like. Pull out 2 strands. And thread them through a sewing needle. Now let's take a look at the finished daisy. The smooth side is the right side, and the other side is the wrong side. Pass the needle through the wrong side of the daisy, then secure it onto the outer fabric piece. Refer to the actual project for placement and quantity, or adjust according to personal preference. After sewing, tie a knot and cut the yarn. That's how you sew on one daisy. That's all for securing the daisy. Using the same method, sew on the required daisies in suitable positions. Once all decorations are done, proceed to join the hem. Before joining, first lay the entire piece flat. Use stitch markers to mark together the end points on both sides of the outer layer's last round. And the joining end points on both sides of the inner layer. Then mark the middle between the 2 marker positions. The middle of the 2 layers of fabric. This makes it easier to join evenly. If needed, you can place another marker in the middle of the 2 layers between the 2 stitch markers, and secure it with a stitch marker. Once marked, position the inner fabric layer facing us, and pick up both the outer and inner layers to work single crochets. When crocheting here, don't worry about the stitch count or insertion position. Just keep the join even and flat. Repeat the single crochets, and complete the entire round. Pay attention to tidy up the fabric as you crochet, to ensure the two layers are joined evenly. Once done, make a slip stitch in the first stitch, then secure the yarn ends. This completes the joining of the hem. That's it for now. This dress is now completely crocheted. If you have any unclear points during the crocheting process, feel free to contact our customer service. Don't hesitate to join our Facebook group to get supports. Susan's Family, supporting your handwork experience, sharing the joy of life. Thank you all for watching. See you in the next episode.